In late 2024, Ukraine achieved what no military had done before. It launched a full-scale assault without a single soldier setting foot in enemy territory. A swarm of armed aerial drones covered the area above the Russian-occupied territory near the village of Lyptsi, providing cover for a convoy of ground robots creeping forward just below. As they advanced, these unmanned machines began to sow mines across the field, setting a mortal trap for incoming troops without putting any of their own soldiers at risk. Just months later, another strike arrived as a Ukrainian ground drone slipped past enemy lines, weaving through debris until it found what it was looking for: a basement packed with Russian infantry. The soldiers barely had time to register its presence before it detonated, obliterating the room in a single flash. The Ukrainian drone campaign was working, but before they could deal another hit, the machines turned on them, and a new clan of robot attackers appeared on the horizon, this time flying the Russian flag. Shortage and surge. As Russia's invasion of Ukraine bleeds into its third year, front lines are beginning to buckle. The flood of volunteers who rushed to defend their homeland in 2022 has thinned, replaced by older conscripts and green cadets. A fighter from Ukraine's 114th Territorial Defense Brigade put it plainly, quote, "Recently, we received 90 people, but only 24 of them were ready to move to the positions. A month ago, they were walking around Kyiv or Dnipro, and now they're in a trench and can barely hold a weapon, poorly trained and poorly equipped. Yet amid these weakening forces, they found a way to keep the battle going." In just 3 years, Ukraine has transformed into one of the world's most prolific manufacturers of battlefield robotics, outpacing many NATO countries in real-time adaptation and field deployment. By 2025, Ukraine's drone industry is projected to produce up to 200,000 first-person view platforms each month, utilizing domestically sourced components. These drones are equipped to slip past radar and flak, racing across enemy lines before slamming into fuel depots, command bunkers, air defense sites, and munitions stockpiles. According to military estimates, over 80% of Russian battlefield casualties are now inflicted by these unmanned systems. In early May, the shift became impossible to ignore when, near Moscow, civilians were jolted awake by 7 blasts. As panicked residents gazed out their windows, they saw flames engulfing the Basalt plant, Russia's leading munitions manufacturer. Moments later, another salvo of drones rained down on the city of Tula, hitting the Splav facility, the only plant in Russia responsible for crafting multiple launch rocket systems. For Ukraine, this is only the beginning. To break through Russian lines and keep momentum alive, Ukraine understands it must take control of the ground too. A new type of soldier. By the end of 2024, Sergeant Vladimir Detryov of Ukraine's National Guard announced a world first, an offensive operation carried out entirely by drones. The operation, launched near the Russian border, combined aerial drone swarms with unmanned ground vehicles, or UGVs, in a coordinated push into enemy-held territory. As drones buzzed overhead, the ground units disarmed enemy mines and planted their own, setting a trap for unsuspecting Russian troops, all without risking a single Ukrainian life. Beyond this battlefield assault, Ukraine's ground robots have also proven their worth by becoming lifelines for injured troops. The model, known as Vepir, or Wild Boar, consists of a track platform towing a wheeled trailer, equipped with an onboard camera and a remotely operated control system. It's been used to reach soldiers pinned down in areas too dangerous for medics or even armored vehicles to arrive. Alexander Yabchenko, a commander from the Da Vinci Wolves Battalion, recounted one such mission, quote, "After one of the battles, our seriously wounded soldier found himself in a position that was no longer reachable, neither on foot nor by armored vehicles. The path to the evacuation point was under enemy control. Then they deployed the Vepr NRC for evacuation. According to Yabchenko, the remote extraction not only saved the wounded man's life, but also spared the entire unit the risk of a costly rescue." While many of these robotic systems remain experimental and limited, often used only as a last resort due to low speeds or the risk of mechanical failure, Ukraine is rapidly investing in their development and deployment. In April 2025, Mikhailo Fedorov, Vice Prime Minister and Minister of Digital Transformation, announced, quote, "We conducted the largest ever test of ground robotic platforms in Ukraine. 50 Brave 1 cluster teams tested their developments in conditions as close as possible to real combat. The exercise saw more than 70 different robots pushed to their limits over a 6-mile combat simulation course, navigating uncharted terrain while enduring constant electronic warfare interference, all while demonstrating their ability to haul heavy payloads into contested zones. Some platforms were built to carry ammunition and supplies, others for reconnaissance, remote mine-laying, or even holding static positions under fire. While most systems are still being fine-tuned, a few are already being used in live combat. Explosives at the doorstep. Alexander Yevchenko revealed that the Da Vinci Wolves Battalion recently executed one of the most decisive ground robotic strikes to date by using a remotely controlled ground drone to infiltrate a basement occupied by Russian troops and detonating 66 pounds of explosives. Ground-based drones, unlike their airborne counterparts, can carry up to 3 times more explosive payload, making them ideal for delivering devastating hits within Russian outposts. And Ukraine is only getting warmed up, as officials aim to deploy up to 15,000 robotic systems by the end of 2025. Among the most lethal of these machines is Lyptsi, a combat-grade ground robot recently approved for frontline deployment. Named after the Ukrainian word for fury, Lyptsi lives up to its name, armed with a 7.62mm machine gun and night vision sensors that allow it to engage enemy forces 24/7. With a silent electric motor and high ground clearance, it can be driven close to the front by troops, then continue alone, navigating rubble-strewn streets or cratered fields to find and neutralize threats. Lyptsi is not alone. Ukraine is also deploying other specialized platforms tailored for different battlefield roles. Among them is Tavria, an autonomous turret system equipped with 2 machine guns, including a high-caliber weapon, and fitted with smart tracking software, capable of locking onto fast-moving targets. Then there's Volley, an ultra-portable combat unit designed for long-term field operations, able to function independently for multiple days without recharging. Meanwhile, the Zhemi, or Snake logistic robot, brings heavy-duty support to frontline medics, offering armored transport for evacuating the wounded and delivering supplies through hostile zones. Unlike aerial drones, ground robots can maneuver through urban alleyways, dense forests, and obscured terrain. Their low profiles and compact sizes allow them to bypass Russian observation posts and pass through choke points unchallenged. In footage released by the Da Vinci Wolves, some of these vehicles, smaller than a house cat, can be seen scurrying into underground bunkers before detonating, reducing enemy positions to ashes in the blink of an eye. Robot Wars. Despite Ukraine's progress in drone warfare, Russia is not retreating. On the contrary, Moscow is doubling down on its own robotic arsenal, determined to match and counter Ukraine's battlefield innovations, leading to an escalating technological arms race. For Ukraine to maintain its edge, continuous adaptation on the front lines is non-negotiable. As Alexander Yevchenko put it, quote, "What was up-to-date and relevant half a year ago is not up-to-date and relevant anymore." In many cases, Ukrainian troops are forced to modify and upgrade their drones themselves right before combat deployment. In early April, Russian troops deployed their own kamikaze ground drones toward Ukrainian positions. These basic tracked drones were fitted with TM-62 mines, simple devices loaded with over 15 pounds of TNT. In one attack, a drone rolled directly into a Ukrainian outpost and detonated, taking out or severely wounding every soldier nearby and blasting a corridor open for Russian forces to advance deeper into the region. However, there are also signs that Russia's robotic warfare strategy is still struggling. In another engagement, Russia deployed grenade-launching UGVs in what appeared to be a direct assault role. Combat footage later revealed the robots knocked out and left behind, scattered like wreckage across the landscape. It seemed that the Russian systems were likely overwhelmed by a mix of rugged terrain and Ukrainian jamming efforts that scrambled their command signals. Ukraine's robotic future. While Russian President Vladimir Putin seeks to flood the battlefield with millions of drones, it's been reported that his country currently fields fewer drone variants than Ukraine and lacks the tactical diversity seen across Ukraine's ever-growing drone fleet, with engineers and battlefield technicians producing a wide array of custom-built systems, each tailored for specific missions. Ukrainian drone operator Dmytro Zhloktenko summed it up, quote, It's very hard for them to surprise us, and it's very easy for us to surprise them. The impact of drone warfare has been so transformative for Ukraine that across cities and at recruitment stations, posters now urge citizens to join the, quote, pilotless technology forces, signaling a new era of warfare, one where drone operators are as vital as infantry, and where not even a military giant like Russia is guaranteed victory.